Hello, hello. Welcome back to our channel. And we are back with another engaging interview with one of our faves to collaborate with, Dasia Merritt. She's an accountant, a boss, a powerhouse in every right. And so she created her company to help alleviate the stress and the anxiety around taxes because we know how it can make us sweat a little bit. And to take control of her time and her income as a single mom. So in this episode, she talks about how she teaches business owners how to maintain and manage their revenue and to track their profits. And she gives tips on how to increase profits, on how to have long-term success and stability, and also pivotal moments in her life and childhood that kept her on this success journey. So, if you don't really understand taxes, if you need some tips on how to be profitable, or if you want to figure out how you can manage your income and your revenue, this episode is for you. Tune in.
Welcome back for another episode. We are just getting started with this is the Legacy Podcast where we're interviewing great entrepreneurs about their businesses and how they can help you and assist in growing your business as well. This is Terrence Blackwell at Blackwell Legacy Group. We are business consultants that help small business owners increase their revenue by $50,000 without spending more money on marketing and advertising. Today, I'm really excited about this interview. This is a friend of our business. She's great. We've definitely partnered on a few things. And she's one of those people that, that's real deal. She's bringing that real value. So wanted to have her on for this interview. This is Miss Merritt and Miss Merritt with Merritt Financial Services. So let's get into it. So tell the people a little bit about yourself, give them your name, your backstory. Let's get into it.
Hey, well, thank you so much for having me. I absolutely love Blackwell Legacy Group. We've been in connection for over the last year at least, and it's so amazing watching the things that you guys have going on over there. I've watched some of your other podcasts, and you guys are just doing big things. Listen, I would get on some of the workshops and learn so much about growing my income, tracking my profitability, right? My profit or loss. And I'm an accountant, so I absolutely love the work that you guys have going on over there. And thank you for inviting me to this podcast interview.
Absolutely.
But for those of you that don't know me out there, my name is Dasia Merritt. I'm the founder of Merritt Financial Services, and I've been in the tax and accounting industry for a little over a decade now. And I started growing my business in about 2019. So my story actually began when I became a teenage mom, seeking the love and support that I wasn't receiving at home. It was a challenging time for me. And at the young age of 15, I actually started running away from home. So by the time I turned 17, my mom, by law, she could not force me to come back. So I knew that I was in the clear. So I found myself living with my son's father until I turned 18 and was finally able to get a place on my own. However, that situation wasn't the best. Like, I vividly remember him dating other women and bringing them to the house while I was there. It was probably one of my lowest points at such a young age. We're talking about 17, 18 years old. It literally made me feel worthless. But instead of letting it break me, I put on my boss hat and I said to myself, if he doesn't recognize my worth, then that's his loss, and at that moment, that became the fuel that I needed to strive for financial stability so that no one could ever make me feel that way again. No one could ever make me feel like I was in a box and I didn't have a way out. So life had its own plans though. And when I was 22, I had my second son and I suddenly found myself as a single mother responsible for 3 mouths to feed on just one income. And it was tough. I'll be honest. Things got really difficult. I went through financial struggles that eventually led to me filing Chapter 7 bankruptcy when I was just 23. It was probably a low point in my life, and I had no idea how I could work a traditional 9-to-5 job and still raise 2 kids on my own. Sometimes we think we're super women and can handle anything that comes our way. And though many things we can handle, the reality was I was living on a fixed income, trying my best to make ends meet. But there was a moment that changed everything for me. So picture this, I caught the bus from the east side of Detroit. So if there's anybody watching that's familiar with the D, I was catching the bus from the east side of Detroit all the way to the west suburbs, very much so pregnant with my second son, just to take a tax and accounting class. It was a leap of faith. It was a conscious decision to pursue a different career opportunity. And in that moment, I knew deep down that my life was about to be different. Like, it's crazy how when you're isolated and you're by yourself, those moments where I had to catch the bus, it would be cold because it was like the winter time when I was doing this. It was fall going into winter. It would be cold. Some days it would be really nice, but I realized that the traditional 9 to 5 just wasn't going to be the right fit for me. It was a bold realization, but I was determined to make a change. So to make a long story short, during that time, some incredible people crossed my path that believed in me. People like my bishop from church, or some people just poured into me. They saw my potential for success in the field of finance, and they were able to share their wisdom and guidance with me. And their words became the fuel that ignited my journey. So every single day I was fighting tooth and nail to create a balance that would allow me to still be there for my children, watch them grow up, be present for all their special moments, but still work and make income. Because remember, I'm still a single mom feeding 3 people. And it was from that fight that Merritt Financial Services was born. It was inspired by my own experiences and driven by my passion to make a difference. So I founded my accounting business with a clear purpose in mind. I wanted to alleviate the anxiety and stress surrounding taxes, and mostly for businesses earning 200K plus in revenue who were uncertain about their profitability and they lacked a clear financial plan. My goal was to empower service-based professionals to prioritize profitability and achieve multi-million-dollar income levels. So through my journey, I had to make several mindset shifts. I had to one of the most profound was realizing that taxes aren't this dirty thing to be feared. Like, a lot of times we get so nervous when it comes to taxes. For some reason, business owners think they don't have to pay taxes. Like, they run away from taxes. It's like, if you're working a 9 to 5, you don't mind when taxes come out of your paycheck every 2 weeks. You don't say nothing about it. But what I noticed working with business owners, I would work with them and they're like, hey, I don't want to pay any taxes. How so? How, Sway?
It's the
So when I
social media. So it's the
realized,
social media world where they hear, all the people that's avoiding taxes. And, the downside of it is, like, you never hear the whole story. And that's why I always get on people when they see, oh yeah, I can go get a G-Wagon. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. There's some other things in place first before you go get that G-Wagon. So, well, yeah, my apologies.
no, that was good. Because like you said, social media will have you thinking that you can make $1 million in profit and pay $0 in taxes. And that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Again, one of those mindset shifts for me was that taxes aren't a dirty thing. They're indicators that you're making money and that you have a healthy business.
Yeah.
So with proper tax planning, we can actually avoid fatigue in our, business finances and that burdensome of tax obligations, because you're going to be planning to pay just your fair share of taxes, nothing more, and you're going to be paying them as you go, so it doesn't become this burden at the beginning of the year for you to come up with all of this money. So just making it fun for people. Like, I tell people, some of our clients, like, their key performance indicator is the check that they have to send to the IRS, right? Because that means that they're making money. So now I stand here today. I'm proud of how far I've become. I built Merritt Financial Services from the ground up, and it's become a thriving multi-6-figure accounting business. But my success goes beyond financial achievements. It's about being there for my children. It's about making their games, making their, my son just had, he plays an instrument. So they just had like a little a mini concert, and I was able to attend. I still had to work. I had things to do, but I made sure that I was there. So witnessing their growth and cherishing those special moments with them, I never want to miss out on that stuff.
That's huge, man. It's so much that I can pull from that. There's so many questions I can pull from your story, and thank you so much for sharing that, because that's personal, and I appreciate it. So I have this term that I've coined, and it's called a success pivot, right? And a success pivot is that thing, the actionable thing that you do that runs away from distractions, right? So you went through something that you could have said, I'm gonna stay in this situation, right? I'm gonna stay, where I am right now. Some people could have given you advice. You could have said, you know what, I don't deserve that, or that's not for me. So what was that success pivot to say, you know what, this is for me and I can have a better life?
Yeah. What was that pivotal moment where I
Hmm.
said that?
Hmm.
I think I had a few of them. And th- three or four of them are in this same story. So the
Hmm.
first one was living in an abusive household, growing up. And when I say abuse, I don't mean that, I was getting beat up or that their intention was to harm me. For them, they looked at it as discipline. And for me,
Hmm.
I looked at it like you should not whip your children with a belt and extension cord. Like none of that stuff. That's
Yeah.
abuse to me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I get the way that you discipline
Hmm.
has some really great effects. But it is the way that you discipline. So it's
Yeah.
not the fact that, I was whooped by belts. It was the fact that after that situation, I wasn't set down and explained to,
Mm.
hey, this is why you got in trouble. This is how
Yeah.
you could avoid that in the future. I love you, and I'm only doing this because I love you.
Mm.
So that was one pivotal moment for me, leaving the house at such an early age. I knew that it was going to be something special about me. I just
Yeah.
didn't know what. I knew that I was going to do something different than I've seen anyone in my family do. I just didn't know what. And then I
Yeah.
would say that second pivotal moment was being in a relationship that I didn't want to be in, but it was like, do you want to go back home or do you want to deal with this until your 18th birthday and that
Yeah.
day be out?
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
made that choice to be out. But I would say the most pivotal moment was my relationship with Christ.
Mm.
Going to my church home, my second son's father, he introduced me to his church home. And when I finally went, the first day I went, I never stopped going.
Yeah.
I learned more about God. I learned more about the Holy Spirit. I learned more about, this spiritual journey. And I would be, places on my lunch break, and I would just be talking to God and telling him my desires and telling him
Mm.
the ups and the downs and how I was feeling.
Yeah.
And really him pouring back into me and showing me that it was a light at the end of the tunnel that changed my world. And I
Yeah.
knew that there was greater out there for me than what I was going through at that moment.
Mm. That's huge. That's huge because we have to have like, it's so important. Like, people talk about balance, like as an entrepreneur, but balance isn't necessarily the balance that people think that they need to have. The balance is like that mental balance, that spiritual balance, because it's going to be days where you're going to say, I don't want to do this today, or I don't even want
Yep.
to do this business anymore. So it has to be
Yeah.
something that's like that other voice is saying, look, you know what? Today was rough. Tomorrow is going to be better. Right.
Ooh-wee.
Now I have a question for you. So you mentioned something earlier about having a financial plan for a business, right? So, in our personal life, I always say this too. In our personal lives, like we should have a financial plan. Like we should have an emergency fund, we should have life insurance, we should have what else? Retirement things set up, health insurance. Like we should have like some things in place to make sure that we're protected financially on a personal level. What are some of
Mhm.
those things in the business world that we need to have in place?
Good question. Well, coming from a financial standpoint, I love all of those things that you mentioned. So when I'm thinking of finances, I'm thinking, how can I set myself up for long-term success? How can I set myself up for long-term stability? And depending on your income level, when you're working with a small amount of resources, it may seem unbearable. Like it may seem like, where am I going to get the money to save? Where are you talking about $1,000 emergency fund? How can I even
Mhm.
set that aside when I'm living
Yeah.
paycheck to paycheck? Or,
Hmm.
I barely can stretch this check to
Hmm.
the next one. So I think that it all starts with understanding what your goals and dreams are. What is that lifestyle that you desire? Even if
Hmm.
you're not in a position to get that right now, that still needs to be the forefront of your brain. That needs to be what you're moving to when you talk about becoming, and actually growing to a space where you desire to be. No, without a plan, you're not going to
You'll
get very
fail.
far.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I feel like you need that plan in place because, for instance, I was just saying yesterday, I was doing something And I think I was just driving around, just driving. I didn't have any destination. I didn't have any plan to reach. So I was able to just, just drive freely. But
Mhm.
if you have somewhere to go, you're like, okay, I have to be there by this time. I need to take this route. I need to allow this time to get there. So it's like, just know where you want to go. If you know that you want to live in a 4-bedroom home, you know that you want to drive a newer car, you know that you want to put your children in extracurricular activities like dance and football and track that are paid. You want to send your kids to a private school. Don't let your current situation stop you from dreaming big, and don't let your current situation stop you to moving forward towards those goals. Know where you want to go, get it out your head, because we have a million thoughts. I think I read a study the other day that we have like 60,000 thoughts going through our brain per day.
Mhm.
Out of those 60,000, something is going to get lost. Get it out your head, get it on paper so that you can go back and remind yourself what those goals are, especially when it gets tough and you want to give up. You go back to that plan and you say, hey, I want to do this. The plan hasn't changed. The destination hasn't changed. The route may have to change depending on where you are in life. But guess what? There are many routes to get to one destination. My office is in Southfield, Michigan. I live in Detroit. I can literally just call off about 5 routes that I can take to get there. So I'm never going to be stuck. So again, the route may change, but as long as you write it down and you know where you're going, you can still get to that destination.
Okay. All right. So what are some elements that you would include in a financial plan? So obviously revenue is going to be one, or maybe profitability to be another. What are some other things that you would include in an actual detailed financial plan?
Good question. I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of people see me, and when I say accountant, they don't know what an accountant is, right? So when I say accountant, they just think about a financial planner. Hey, she gonna help me get my personal finances in order.
Yeah.
And that's not what I do.
Mhm.
So as an accountant, I'm helping business owners to manage and maintain their resources, their revenue, and I'm helping them track profitability. So what's important to know is that revenue is not the same as profit. So
Yeah.
even if you're making money in
Big
your
difference.
business, yeah, even if you're making money in your business, you may be making multi six figures, you may be making multi-million dollars, but what you're taking home is not that. So I
Hmm.
remember the first year I made my first 6 figures, my family thought I was rich. Everybody thought I had money to do everything, but they didn't realize that my business made 6 figures, but I had only took home $30,000 that year as
Right.
owner's pay.
Right. Right.
I
Yeah.
was still $30,000. I was still in the low income tax range.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all these amazing trips you wanted me to take, all these loans you wanted to get from me, that's not that. So really
Yeah.
helping business owners understand profitability, understand tracking their expenses so that they can take as many tax write-offs and deductions as possible, helping them understand that you don't have to write off a ton of expenses and look broke on paper, because if your goal is to qualify
Mm,
for funding, if your goal is to move into that 4-bedroom dream home, they're going to want to see that you're making some money. They're going to want to see that you can pay your mortgage every month, that you can pay back that loan. So you want to show those profits on your financial statement, but you want to plan to not have a huge tax burden at the end of the year.
so let's put a staple right there. Hold on. Let's put a staple right there because I think we've talked about this before too. I think we get caught up a lot in, or small business owners get caught up a lot in, like, let's write everything off.
Mhm,
But that goes to what you were saying earlier. If you don't have a plan, you're just gonna
mhm,
write everything off. Now
mhm,
it's time to go buy the G Wagon that you want, go buy the vehicle that you want. And you
mhm,
can't because your business says zero income.
mhm.
So can you talk about that some?
Yes, yes, yes. So I think in this situation, timing is everything. Like you said, it's that plan of action and it's the timing. What do you want to do? So whenever I meet with new prospects or new clients, I'm always like, what are your goals? Both personally and professionally. We need to sit down and talk about your goals first, because if you just bought a house, and you're content with where you are, you're stable right now, your goal is just to reinvest as much money back into the business so you can grow it quicker, it may be okay to write off a bunch of expenses, right? It may be okay to save some money in taxes because the whole goal is to put that money back into the business and grow it quicker. But if you aren't where you want to be yet, if you still know, hey, next month I'm about to walk into, or, in the next 6 months, the next year, I'm going to walk into a broker and try to get a home mortgage.
Mhm.
Listen, we don't need to write off a whole bunch of expenses.
Yeah.
What we need
Yeah.
to do is make sure that we're planning to pay our taxes throughout the year. So the
Mhm.
IRS has a pay-as-you-go tax system. That
Yeah.
means as you're earning revenue, they want you to pay your taxes. So you need to be setting aside taxes with every single dollar you bring in your business, you need to be setting aside taxes. I would
Mhm.
say, people say, anywhere between what 30% is like that magic number that I hear
Yeah.
out there, but don't go off of magic numbers. Don't go off of TikTok. Don't go off of social media. Speak with an accountant to see what your situation looks like, because your
Mhm.
revenue is going to be different from mine. My revenue
Yeah.
is going to be different from the next person's. So you need to see what it looks like for you. But just to say in general, a dollar comes into my business, I'm setting aside 30 cents for taxes. And then that
Mhm.
other 70 cents I have to play with. So knowing
Mhm.
that all of the money that you bring into your business is not yours.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot be a selfish business owner. You have to
Mhm.
share your
Yeah.
income, right? You have to share it with the IRS. Hopefully you're sharing it with, your church ministries, and
Yeah.
you're paying your
Employees.
tithes and your
Yeah.
charitable contributions. Hopefully that's the first line item on your list, then
Yeah.
taxes, then paying your team, because who wants to run a business and do everything on their own? Like, a lot
Yeah.
of business owners now are just worker bees, right? You replace the job to be a worker bee in your
Yeah.
business. No, we have to step away from that and become the CEO of our business. Start
Mhm.
putting those key people in place to be able to help us take the business to the next level so that we can focus on lead generation, sales, and closing more clients and bringing more clients in to feed our team. So having that plan and focusing on the timing, I feel like, is most important.
That's good. Thank you for that too. Thank you for answering that for me. A great resource too that kind of applies to what you were saying is it's a book called Profit First. You ever heard of that book?
I love that book. I
Yeah.
love the method.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you check out Profit First. It's a great book. I'm not going to spill the beans on, the methodology of the book. Read it and then you figure it out. So now with that being stated, so you have a business owner, and the thing is, it's 33 million small businesses or businesses in the world, right? 82% make less than $100,000, right? So
Mhm.
what would you tell a small business owner today that wants to increase their profits?
Ooh, that's really good. I think I might have three things that I would tell them. Number one is to keep going. Don't give up. And why I say this is because if you're at that 100K mark, I just told you, when I made my first 100K, what I took home that year was between $25,000-$30,000. I was still low income, still
Mhm.
$30,000 to feed 3 miles.
Yeah.
It gets
Yeah.
tough. You're like, dang, I'm ready to go back to work. And
Mhm.
I'm not saying that you can't. You may want to pick up something part-time just to have some extra stream of revenue over here until you get the
Yeah.
business to where you want to go, but don't give up. The second thing that I would say is mentorship.
Mhm.
You could spin your wheels watching all of the free masterclass, watching all of the free resources, but until you invest in yourself, you're going to see your income stagnant. You need to
Yeah.
be able to work with someone that's been there, done that. They
Mhm.
have the results that you desire, and they can cut your learning curve in half,
In half.
right?
Yep. Yep.
They can cut it in half because you can learn from their mistakes. They can help you implement some of the things that it would take you a while to implement, and they can see your business from an outside perspective. We're so
Yeah.
close in the business, especially if you're providing the services and you're doing the work, we're so close to it that sometimes we can't see the long-term strategy. So
Mhm.
having someone to see it from an outside perspective will be great. And then the third thing I'm going to say is focus on profitability. Terrence and I was just talking before we started the meeting, and he was saying it doesn't matter if you made $1 million if you spent $1 million.
Mhm.
None of that matters if your business makes $1 million and you spend $1 million. You're still broke at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Focus on profitability, what you are actually keeping in the business so that you can reinvest it and grow your business that much quicker.
That's good. Thank you for those 3 tips. That's great. One of the things that we implement too, because we've seen that this was a huge issue. So and this is small, but every quarter, like we'll sit down with a business and we'll go through. I say, look, pull up your bank statement. And we literally go line by line through the bank statement. What is this? Why are you spending money on this? And and what we've seen that, and the cool thing is, you go through it and if I can save you let's say $200, guess what? That's $2,400 I just saved that goes directly to profits
Oh, we.
all day. So those are the things that that benefit or can help too, or that we try to do. We're not accountant by no stretch of the imagination, but we do kind of understand some of the nuances of financial stability in business. So
Yeah,
try to
another
implement that
thing
as
I
much as
would
possible.
add to that piece of it is having a cash flow forecast. So
Mhm.
especially if you're a growing business, once you get over that 100K mark, 200K mark, a cash flow forecast is so important. Why? Because it's going to forecast your revenue over the next 30 days, 6 months, 1 year, so
Mhm.
that you at least have a baseline of what's going to come in. That's going
Mhm.
to help you to avoid those months where you're going to fall in the hole, because there are going to be some months, most businesses don't just have months where they're just trending all the way upwards and during the whole 12 months it's just going like this. It may
Mhm.
go up and down. You're going to have those ebbs and flows, but with that cash flow forecast, you're able to forecast when your revenue is going to drop. So I was working with one of my business owners the other day, and I was showing him that he had I think it was a $3,500 profit this month. And he was so excited. He was like, yes, okay, this is what I want to be able to do with that 3,500. And I was like, wait.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now we were profitable this month, but in I think the months were September and December, you're going to be operating at a loss.
Mhm.
So that loss, we need to set that aside in another account so that you have those funds available to make sure that you can cover all of your expenses for, September and
Yeah.
December. Then we can look at what you have extra. We can start building up what I call working capital.
Mhm.
And that's at least 2 months worth of expenses sitting
Mhm.
aside in a bank account so that if anything happens, you're at least able to float the business for a couple months before you need to look at financing options or,
Mhm.
before even possibly going out of business, because some people don't have those financing options that they can lean on. So this evening, we're actually doing a cash flow forecast and training. So if you've
Mhm.
never developed a cash flow forecast before, if you don't know what it is, I'll actually be showing you the 3 essential components of a comprehensive cash flow statement and how you can create that on your own so that you can forecast your revenue, so that you can track your profitability and focus on increasing those numbers.
Mhm. And today is the 19th of May, guys. So if you now if they catch this after this goes live or goes public, how can they go back and watch the replay?
Good question. My social media tags will be left on this video,
Mhm.
and you'll actually be able to go to my page, and on the post, you can comment replay on this video right now. We'll make sure that we get it out to you. We will have a recorded version available for those that may miss that live training session. And we have weekly live training. So if you missed this one, the next one we'll be talking about profit and loss, how to develop a P&L statement and how to read it and interpret it and use those numbers to help your business grow. So if you missed this one, you'll probably be right in time for the next one.
That's awesome, awesome, awesome. So, Deja, I appreciate you. It's all love here. We love what you're doing over there. And give people one last thing. Give them your big projection. What do you see your business in the next 4 to 5 years?
Ooh, so I see our business in the next 4 to 5 years as a multi-million-dollar accounting firm that helps business owners grow their profitability by 30% or more. We're really big on tax planning strategies to help you pay the least amount in taxes, right? To time your tax liability so that, some moments we can use that money to reinvest back into the business, and some moments we can make sure that, we're showing profit so that we can qualify for funding. So my big goal, outside of, a revenue goal for myself, because it's not about me, it's about the business owners right now that are struggling. Even working with business owners, service-based professionals, and helping them grow their profits, that's them from me making money. But then at the end of the year, I would be like, where did all of my money go? Or making money and I would still feel broke, or making money and I would still be living paycheck to paycheck. So I want to help the next business owner avoid that. I want to help the next business owner create a long-term sustainable business where they can leave generational wealth for their children, where they can leave a successful, healthy business that if something happened to them tomorrow, their children could take over, where they can create processes and systems. So if a person has to come in your business tomorrow and take over, Lord forbid, you're not able to, they know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. So my whole goal is to help service-based professionals up level their finance skills. Even if you're not a finance person, even if you're not a math person, understanding the numbers and how they're going to help your business go to that next level, which is hopefully that multi-million-dollar mark.
That is awesome. Thank you for that so much, and I look forward to seeing it. Look forward to that journey with you as well. So listen, we're gonna end it here. Go ahead and give people your handle where they can find you, and let's let them connect with you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate this opportunity just to come on your platform and share my experience. Hopefully I touched somebody today. Hopefully you heard from my experience, even as a young mom, even as a single mom, even as a mom that went through, I would say, hell and back. I'm here and I'm showing up, and I show up every day for my children. When I want to give up, when I'm tired, it's been a tiring week. When I don't want to come to work, I'm like, no, I'm building a legacy for my family. I'm building generational wealth for my family. I was just able to take my entire family. It was about 20 of us, not my entire family, I'm sorry, my immediate family, like my mom's children and my mom and her husband, my sister's brothers, the nieces, nephews. I was just able to take about 20 of us to Kissimmee, Florida for a family vacation where we had, a 12-bedroom home, 13 bathrooms. Everybody had their own bedroom, own bathroom, pool in the back, just living it up. My mom, I was able to upgrade her rental car, and she was driving around in a $100,000 rental car, right? I do this for my family to create experiences that they'll remember, and that they can pass down to their children. So thank you for this opportunity. You can follow me on IG at Merritt Tax. That's MERRITTAX. You can also follow me on Facebook at Merritt Financial Services. That's MERRITT Financial Services. We're on TikTok as Merritt Tax. We're on YouTube as Merritt Tax. So I hope to see you in the community.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you so much for hopping on, and we appreciate you. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you go like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you can be notified when we drop more content like this. Thank you guys for checking out this video. We are out. Peace.